Kylian Mbappe and his pursuit to becoming the best player in the world. You know, in the Messi-Ronaldo era, when the question was asked who was the best player in the world, for the most part there was only two options, Messi or Ronaldo. Rarely was there a third. But as it is in football, as it is in sports, as it is in life, time is always undefeated. And eventually we knew they would move on. And us football fans, we all speculated who would take the mantle. And many, including myself, thought that would be Mbappe. But it hasn't gone as smoothly as some of us might have initially thought. He's 26 going on to 27. Still young, but kind of getting up there. And even with that time he's had, the supposed prince to Messi and Ronaldo, you could argue still has yet to have a time in which he was the best in the world. Let's go through the years. His debut was in 15-16. That was still the Messi-Ronaldo era. I would say 2020-21 was the first time I looked at him as a possible contender. Contender being the key word for maybe potentially being the best player in the world, but he still wasn't. Now in 22-23 we all know what happened. Haaland won the treble and Messi won the World Cup. And after that you had Vinny, as well as Rodri. And even so far this season, most would say Salah and Rafinha have been better. And I'll take it a step further for the future. With upcoming talents like Lamine Yamal, could he ever be the best player in the world? Yes, of course he could. I'm being silly. In fact, even with how great Salah and Rafinha have been, I believe a great chance presents itself to Mbappe to finally take the crown this season. Let me explain. Now firstly, let's actually evaluate Mbappe's season so far. It's his first with Real Madrid, a lot of pressure. And whilst he had a bit of a rough start, he's most definitely settled in, to the point where I personally believe him to be their best player this season. I know some would say Valverde, and I won't argue with you, Valverde has been fantastic. It's just personally, I would tip it towards Mbappe's favour just about. Now let's look at his numbers. He's currently on 46 games with 32 goals and 4 assists. Now I know on the playmaking side it's not looking too good, but he is fulfilling his main role, being a goal scorer. And the numbers he's putting up along with the rate is a trajectory that can land you the Ballon d'Or to become the world's best. But of course, as we know, when it comes to becoming the world's best, trophies also play a part. And in that regard, all is still available to him. La Liga, only 3 points behind Barca, they're still in it. Copa del Rey, they're in the final to play Barca. And the Champions League, currently in the quarterfinals playing Arsenal. So all of that, along with his numbers, is a foundation that he has set so far that he can build on to become the world's best. Now let's look at who's standing in his way. And I already mentioned them before. For me, it's Mo Salah and Rafinha. If the season ended today, I feel most would regard these two as the best. So they are the benchmark. And let's start by comparing their numbers. You've already seen Mbappe's, but here's Salah's and here's Rafinha's. Now when it comes to goals, Salah and Mbappe are top head to head with 32 each. Mbappe does have 2 more games, but Salah does have 11 penalties, as opposed to Mbappe's 6. Something to think about. Also with Rafinha, 27 goals and only one of them was a penalty. Once again, something to think about. But of course, when we go to the playmaking side of things, it's a wash. Mbappe is dead last. Salah with 22 assists, Rafinha with 20, as opposed to Mbappe's 4. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, when I look at these numbers, of the 3, I would put Mbappe in 3rd. These numbers tell me that Salah and Rafinha have been better, but not by a huge margin. This is most definitely recoverable. I do think Salah and Rafinha boast better numbers, yes, but Mbappe can still come out on top. And like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to becoming the world's best, it ain't just about the numbers. Trophies play a part. And this is where things can get a bit uncomfortable for Salah. Now before I continue, I do just want to say one thing. I believe people, fans, the media, at times put way too much importance on trophies when it comes to being the world's best. Yes, it is important, but my issue is just how important. Because for some, seemingly it's everything. Some take it way too far. This is a team sport. No matter how good you are individually, if your teammates don't lift their weight, you'll never win. And I just feel that goes by way too many people. But in this instance, when it comes to Salah losing the Carabao Cup final, getting knocked out of the Champions League in the round of 16, the major blow that Salah has taken when it comes to going for the Ballon d'Or, I think is deserved. And here's why. With the Champions League, he got knocked out in the round of 16 extremely early. That's gonna hurt. And also, as great as he's been this season, easily his 3 worst performances by a mile was the Carabao Cup final, was the game against PSG in Paris and the game against PSG in Anfield. Your 3 biggest games and your 3 worst performances. That's hard to ignore. And that right there paves the way for Mbappe. Because like we covered earlier, he could still win the treble. He's in everything. And doing so being their best player. But of course also is the same for Rafinha, who I also believe because of Salah's failure in the Champions League has also been shown a path to becoming the world's best. But the reason why I'm higher highlighting Kylian Mbappe is because of what was promised. I mentioned it at the beginning. He was, for many, the so-called prince to Messi and Ronaldo, and to be the prince of two absolute monsters. Yet to be 26 going on to 27 and arguably not at any point ever being the best in the world, that's a bit off. That's off the mark. You could say underachieving. But the point that I'm raising now, a chance presents itself yet again to become the world's best. And I say again because the first chance for me was around 2 to 3 years ago in Qatar. You know where I'm going with this. World Cup final, Argentina versus France. Mbappe versus Messi, the man who alongside Ronaldo owned this sport. And it was the perfect setting to shout to everyone, Messi is done, Ronaldo is done, I am now the king. But unfortunately, he failed. But yeah, now another chance is here. For a minute there, Salah was running away with the Ballon d'Or. Easily, it wasn't even close. But thanks to PSG, there's a lifeline. And Mbappe can take full advantage of that. It's a challenge. Fulfill your potential. Carry this team to La Liga, to the Copa del Rey. But most importantly, the Champions League. If he does, I think then, finally, we can rightfully crown Kylian Mbappe the best player in the world. Alright, there's the video. Let me know what you think about Mbappe, Rafinha, Salah, and also anyone else that you think can take the crown. Comment your thoughts. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. I am the football enthusiast. Take care of yourselves.